Hello and welcome to the fourth lecture of Remain or Leave. The purpose of this week's lecture is twofold. Firstly, I want to highlight the existence of divisions among the British electorate over the question of whether to stay in the EU or not. Secondly, I will then explain why these divisions exist and what they can perhaps tell us about how the result will turn out. The different attitudes people have towards the EU can also tell us a lot about which arguments matter in this campaign. To win the majority of the popular vote, one side needs to craft a message that can appeal to a wide number of groups. We will look in detail at how the British electorate can be parcelled out into different categories of voters. There are regional variations, for example, whereby support for leaving the EU is much higher in England as compared to in Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland. There are also significant differences across generations. Younger people are much more likely to be on the Remain side of the debate. However, older voters are the ones most likely to turn out to vote. So that's something that needs to be taken into account when trying to forecast the final result. Finally, there are partisan divides over the EU issue. That is, British political parties are taking contrasting positions during the referendum. The Scottish National Party is in favour of remaining in the EU, but doesn't want to share a platform and campaign alongside the Conservative government. The Conservative government itself is split, as are its voters. Some want to leave the EU despite David Cameron's renegotiation, and I will be looking into why exactly that is the case. One of the main dividing lines in this referendum is between those who think controlling immigration is the priority and those who worry about the economy. Both campaigns are keenly aware of this tension, which explains the messages they are using to appeal to these constituencies. In generational terms, it is older voters that prefer control over immigration, whereas younger people, who are more used to diversity, are much less concerned. At the same time, regional variation in public opinion reflects attitudes towards Westminster as well as the perceived benefits of EU membership, notably in relation to EU regional funding. In this context, voting decisions in the referendum are highly sensitive to the issue of trust. Hence, this lecture will also evaluate perceptions of trust in particular politicians and the messages they are putting across. That way we can appreciate better the influence politicians may have on the final result as we enter the last stage of the campaign.